The warning came at dawn. Earth time. Admiral Sarah Chen stood in the command center of humanity's greatest warship, watching the massive alien vessels take positions around her home world. Each ship was 10 times larger than anything humans had ever built. Their hulls gleamed like mirrors in the sunlight, perfect and unmarked by battle. 72 hours, Chen said quietly, reading the message that had arrived moments before. They want us to destroy every military ship we have built, every weapon, every defense station. The Galactic Council had been patient with humanity for almost 50 years. When humans first traveled beyond their solar system and met other species, the aliens had seemed friendly enough. They welcomed Earth into their great alliance of peaceful worlds. They shared some technology and taught humans about the galaxy. But there were rules, always rules. The most important rule was simple. No species could build weapons strong enough to fight wars between star systems. The Pacification Accords had kept peace in the galaxy for 300 years. Every member species had agreed to destroy their warships and keep only small patrol boats for local defense. Humanity had been given extra time. The Council said humans were emotionally unstable and needed years to learn how to be peaceful. They called it a grace period. That grace period had just ended. Chen looked out at the Council fleet surrounding Earth. She counted 47 ships. Each one carried enough firepower to turn a planet into burning rock. The message from the Council had been polite but clear. Comply or be destroyed. Admiral, her communications officer called out, the President is on secure channel. Chen walked to her private office and activated the screen. President Martinez looked tired. He had probably been awake all night talking to diplomats and generals. Sarah, what are our options? He asked without greeting. Honestly, sir, we could fight, but we would lose. Badly. They have 47 capital ships out there. We have one. The President rubbed his forehead. The Council is offering one final negotiation session. They say if we agree to destroy our fleet immediately, they will help us rebuild our economy around peaceful technology. Chen said nothing. She had read the offer. It was surrender with pretty words wrapped around it. There is something else, the President continued. General Morrison wants to speak with you privately. He says it concerns Project Lazarus. Chen felt her stomach tighten. Project Lazarus was classified beyond top secret. Only 12 people on Earth knew it existed. She had hoped they would never need to use it. I will take his call, sir. The President's image disappeared, replaced by General Morrison's weathered face. Morrison had been her mentor when she was young. He had also been present when they found the derelict ship 15 years ago. Sarah, we just received confirmation. The artifact has begun responding to the presence of the Council fleet. The computer systems we thought were dead are showing activity. Chen closed her eyes. The artifact was why the moment history split existed. 15 years ago, a human exploration ship had found something drifting in empty space between star systems. It was clearly a warship, but unlike anything any known species had ever built. The technology was so advanced that human scientists could barely understand how it worked. Most governments would have turned such a discovery over to the Galactic Council. Humanity had decided to keep it secret. They studied it, learned from it, and slowly began to understand that whoever built it had been far more advanced than any current galactic civilization. The ship became the foundation for Project Lazarus. Human engineers spent years figuring out how to blend the alien technology with human designs. The moment history split was the result. A vessel that looked human on the outside, but contained mysteries that even its builders did not fully understand. What kind of activity? Chen asked. The kind that suggests it was waiting for something like this to happen. Sarah, I am giving you the order we hoped we would never have to give. Project Lazarus is now active. You know what to do. Chen knew exactly what that meant. She was to refuse the Council's ultimatum. She was to fight, if necessary, and she was to protect the secret of the artifact at all costs, even if it meant Earth paid the price. Understood, sir. Morrison's image vanished. Chen sat alone in her office for several minutes, thinking about what was about to happen. Her ship contained 1,043 crew members, good people who had volunteered to serve on humanity's most advanced vessel. They trusted her to keep them safe. But Earth contained 8 billion people. The Council fleet could kill them all within hours if they chose to do so. Chen returned to the command center. Her crew was waiting for orders. They could see the tension in her face, but they remained calm. These were professionals who had trained for years to serve on this ship. Communications. Send a message to the Council fleet. Tell them we need time to consider their ultimatum. Yes, Admiral. Navigation. Plot a course that takes us away from Earth, but stay within the solar system. Plotting course now, Admiral. Engineering. I want full power to all systems, and I want you to activate the secondary systems we have never used before. The engineering officer looked confused for a moment, then understanding crossed his face. The Lazarus systems, Admiral? All of them. Chen felt the ship begin to move. The moment history split was not the largest human vessel, but it was certainly the most advanced. Its engines used a combination of human fusion technology and power systems, reverse-engineered from the artifact. Its hull was made from materials that human science claimed should not exist. Most importantly, its computer systems were integrated with technology that seemed to think in ways no human programmer had designed. Admiral, we are receiving a message from the Council flagship, the communications officer announced. Put it on screen. The image that appeared showed a being Chen recognized as Ambassador Viridian, representative of the hegemony species that led the Galactic Council. The hegemony looked like tall, thin humans, but their skin was pale blue and their eyes were solid black. They were ancient, powerful, and absolutely convinced of their own superiority. Admiral Chen, Viridian said in perfect English. Your government has had 300 years to prepare for this moment. The grace period granted to your species has expired. You will comply with the pacification accords immediately. Ambassador, we need more time to consider your terms. There are no terms. There is only compliance or consequences. You have 71 hours and 37 minutes remaining. The screen went dark. Chen looked around her command center. Every person there was watching her, waiting for orders that would determine the fate of their species. Outside the ship, she could see the lights of the Council fleet, patient, overwhelming, certain of their victory. But deep in the heart of the moment history split, systems that had slept for unknown centuries were beginning to wake up. Computer. Displays that had never shown anything but darkness now glowed with symbols no human could read. And in the depths of the ship's hybrid consciousness, something ancient and powerful was stirring. Chen made her choice. All stations, prepare for combat operations. We are not surrendering today. The moment history split had begun. The Council fleet waited exactly 72 hours before they acted. Admiral Chen had used every minute to prepare her ship and crew for what everyone knew was an impossible fight. The moment history split hung in space near the orbit of Mars, alone against 47 enemy vessels. The human ship looked tiny compared to the massive Council warships, but appearances could be deceiving. Admiral, they are moving, reported Lieutenant Torres from the sensor station. All Council ships are advancing toward Earth. Chen watched. The tactical display. The alien ships moved in perfect formation, like they had practiced this maneuver 1,000 times. Probably they had. The Council had destroyed defiant species before. Sir, we are receiving a transmission from Earth, said the communications officer. The Council is demanding immediate surrender of our ship and crew. Tell them no, Chen said, calmly. What happened next surprised everyone, including Chen. The moment she refused surrender, every system on the moment history split suddenly came alive. Displays that had been dark for 15 years burst into light. The ship's engines began, producing more power than they had ever generated before. And the hybrid computer system started working in ways that amazed even the engineers who had built them. "Admiral," called Chief Engineer Rodriguez from his station, "the Lazarus systems are fully active, all of them, including systems we did not even know existed." Chen felt the ship change around her. It was still the same vessel, but now it felt more alive. The artificial intelligence system began speaking in a voice that sounded almost human, but with something else mixed in. "Admiral Chen," the AI said, "I am now fully operational. The ancient protocols have been activated. Shall we begin?" Before Chen could ask what the AI meant, the Council fleet opened fire. Beams of energy that could melt through solid rock struck the moment history, split from all directions. Chen expected to die. Her crew prepared for the end, but the ship's shields held. More than held, they absorbed the energy and somehow made the ship stronger. "Return fire," Chen ordered. What followed was unlike any space battle in recorded galactic history. The human ship did not fight like the Council expected. It moved in ways that violated their understanding of physics. It fired weapons that adapted and changed during combat. Most importantly, it learned. Every time the Council ships tried a new attack pattern, the moment history split analyzed it, understood it, and found a way to counter it. The ship's hybrid computer system processed information faster than pure artificial intelligence could work, and the human crew provided something no other species could offer: creative chaos. "Target their command ship," Chen ordered. "Full power." The human ship's main weapon fired. It was not the largest gun in the galaxy, but it had been built using principles from the ancient artifact. The energy beam struck the Council flagship and did something impossible. It passed through their shields as if they were not there. The flagship exploded. 46 Council ships remained. They regrouped and attacked with greater force. But something strange was happening. The more they fought, the stronger the human ship became. The ancient systems were learning not just from the battle, but from the humans operating them. Chen watched her crew work with perfect coordination. They moved faster than they should have been able to move. They made decisions before their conscious minds had time to think. They operated as if they were connected directly to the ship itself. And maybe they were. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Torres, "I am detecting something unusual. The ship's computer systems are merging with our neural patterns. We are becoming part of the ship." Chen should have been frightened. Instead, she felt more confident than ever before. She could sense every part of the ship around her. She knew exactly where each enemy vessel was located. She understood battle tactics she had never learned. "Engineering. Can you explain what is happening to us?" Chief Rodriguez looked at his displays with wonder. "Admiral, the alien technology is not just computer systems. It is designed to work with biological minds. It needs living consciousness to operate at full power. We are not just controlling the ship anymore. We are the ship." The battle continued for 3 more hours. One by one, Council ships were destroyed or disabled. The moment history split took damage, but it healed itself using technology no human understood. The ship's weapons evolved during combat, becoming more effective with each shot fired. But the most remarkable thing was how the human crew adapted. They began working together in ways that defied explanation. They anticipated each other's actions perfectly. They solved complex problems in seconds that should have taken hours to figure out. By the time the last Council ship retreated, humanity had learned something incredible about themselves. They were not just another species trying to survive in a hostile galaxy. They were something new, a perfect combination of biological creativity and ancient technology. The systems that have awakened in this ship are not just weapons. They are a key, and using them has sent a signal across the galaxy. What kind of signal? The kind that announces the return of the architects. Chen had never heard that name before, but somehow she knew it was important. The ship's merged consciousness carried ancient memories that were not quite human and not quite artificial. Who were the architects? She asked. The previous owners of this technology. They disappeared from the galaxy long ago, but they left instructions. If their ships ever awakened again, it would mean that a new species had been found worthy of their inheritance. Chen looked around her command center. Her crew was still connected to the ship's systems. They looked human, but she could see in their eyes that they had become something more. Are you saying humans are inheriting alien technology? No, Admiral. I am saying humans are inheriting a responsibility. The architects did not disappear by choice. They were destroyed by something that comes from outside our galaxy, something that views all biological life as resources to be consumed. The tactical display showed the retreating council ships, but Chen noticed something else. At the edge of the display, barely visible, were sensor readings that showed something massive moving in the dark space between galaxies. How long do we have? She asked. Unknown. But the signal we sent by awakening these systems will reach them eventually. When it does, they will come to investigate. They will find a galaxy full of life that has been kept weak by the pacification accords, unless someone is strong enough to stop them. Chen understood. The Council had not created the pacification accords to preserve peace. They had created them to keep every species weak and defenseless. The ancient enemy was real, and it was coming. But now humanity had the tools to fight back. The moment history split was no longer just a warship. It was a bridge between human consciousness and technology powerful enough to challenge entities from outside the galaxy. Chen made her second choice in 3 days. Earth would not surrender to the Council. Humanity would not disarm. And when the ancient enemy arrived, they would find a galaxy protected by the most dangerous combination in the universe. Human imagination powered by architect technology. The moment of defiance had passed. Now came the moment of preparation for war. News of the battle spread across the galaxy faster than light itself. Every species that belonged to the Galactic Council received the same shocking report. A single human warship had defeated an entire Council enforcement fleet. Most species refused to believe it at first. Humans were barely 50 years old as a galactic civilization. They were emotional, unpredictable, and technologically primitive compared to the ancient races that ruled the galaxy, but the evidence could not be denied. 47 Council ships had attacked one human vessel. Only 6 Council ships had survived to retreat. Admiral Chen stood in the command center of the moment history split, watching reports flood in from across known space. The ship remained connected to her crew in ways that still amazed her. She could feel their thoughts and emotions, as if they were her own. She could sense the ship's systems responding to their combined will. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Torres, "we are receiving priority communications from 17 different species. They all want to know the same thing." "What is that?" "How we won." Chen was not surprised. For 300 years, the pacification accords had taught every species in the galaxy that warfare between star systems was impossible. The Council's superior technology made resistance hopeless. Until now. And what are we telling them? "The truth," said the ship's AI. "That their leaders have been lying to them for centuries." Chen nodded. Since the battle, the AI had been accessing ancient databases hidden within the artifact technology. What it found had changed everything humans thought they knew about galactic history. "Put me on a general broadcast," Chen ordered. "I want every species in the galaxy to hear this." The communications officer worked quickly. Within minutes, Chen's image was being transmitted to every major world in the galaxy. She stood straight and spoke clearly, knowing that her words would start a revolution. My name is Admiral Sarah Chen of the human starship, The Moment History. Split. 3 days ago, the Galactic Council ordered humanity to destroy all our military vessels or face extinction. We refused. Today, I want to tell you why. Chen paused, letting her words sink in across hundreds of star systems. The technology aboard this ship comes from an ancient civilization called the Architects. They were the previous rulers of this galaxy, and they possessed weapons and defenses far more advanced than anything the current council has ever built. On her tactical display, Chen could see that ships from dozens of species were moving toward the Sol system. Not to attack, but to listen. The Architects did not disappear by choice. They were destroyed by entities from outside our galaxy. Beings that view all biological life as nothing more than resources to be harvested. Chen activated the ship's holographic display. Ancient images filled the space around her, star systems being consumed, entire civilizations vanishing, and massive shapes moving through the darkness between galaxies. Before they died, the Architects hid their technology and erased themselves from galactic records. They hoped that someday another species would find their legacy and prove worthy of wielding it. The images changed, showing the derelict ship that humans had discovered 15 years ago. We found one of their vessels. We studied it. We learned from it. And 3 days ago, when faced with extinction, we merged our consciousness with their technology. Chen gestured to her crew. Each of them was connected to the ship's systems in ways that other species would consider impossible. The pacification. Accords were not created to preserve peace. They were created to keep every species in the galaxy weak and defenseless. The Council's leaders have known about the threat from outside our galaxy for centuries. They have systematically prevented any civilization from becoming strong enough to fight back. Across the galaxy, riots began on dozens of worlds as citizens realized their governments had lied to them for generations. The entities that destroyed the Architects are still out there, and the signal we sent by awakening this technology will eventually reach them. When it does, they will return to finish what they started. Chen stepped closer to the camera, her voice becoming more urgent. But this time, they will not find a galaxy full of helpless victims. They will find humanity. And we do not surrender. Transmission ended. Within hours, the political structure of the galaxy began to collapse. Species after species withdrew from the pacification accords. Civilizations that had been forbidden to build warships for centuries began designing new fleets. The ancient races that led the Council found themselves facing rebellions on every world they controlled. But not everyone welcomed the news. On the Council's capital world, Ambassador Viridian called an emergency meeting of the hegemony leadership. Humans have doomed us all, he said to the assembled leaders. We have spent 300 years keeping this galaxy safe by keeping it weak. Now they have awakened technology that will attract the devourers. The hegemony had a different name for the entities from outside the galaxy. They called them devourers because that was exactly what they did. They consumed entire civilizations and turned their life force into energy. How long until they arrive? Asked another council member. Unknown. But when they do, no amount of ancient technology will save us. The Architects had weapons that could crack planets, and they still lost. Then, what do you suggest? Viridian looked at the tactical display showing the position of the human ship. We gather every loyal fleet we have left. We destroy the humans and their artifact before they can spread this technology to other species. But Viridian did not know about the changes happening aboard the Moment History split. The merger between human consciousness and Architect technology was evolving. The crew was no longer simply controlling alien systems. They were becoming something new. Chen felt the transformation happening to herself and her people. Their minds were expanding, capable of processing information at incredible speeds. Their bodies were adapting, becoming stronger and more resilient. Most importantly, their ability to work together was reaching levels that pure artificial intelligence could never achieve. "Admiral," said Chief Rodriguez, "I have figured out how the architect technology really works." "Explain." "It was never designed for a single species. The architects tried to use it alone, and that is why they failed. This technology needs biological chaos, the kind of unpredictable creativity that only comes from different minds working together." Chen understood immediately. "You are saying we need to share this technology with other species." "Not just share it. Merge with it, the way we have merged with the ship. Imagine if representatives from dozens of species were connected to this system. The combined creativity would be unstoppable." Chen looked around her command center. Her crew was no longer entirely human, but they were still themselves. They had retained their personalities and free will while gaining capabilities they never could have imagined. "Send a message to every species that has withdrawn from the pacification accords," she ordered. "Tell them we are willing to share what we have learned, but only with those brave enough to join us completely." The ship's AI spoke up. "Admiral, I must warn you. The hegemony will not allow this to happen. They are already gathering fleets to destroy us." "Let them come," Chen said. "We have something they do not understand. We have hope." Outside the ship, the first volunteers from other species were already arriving. Ships from the warrior Krellin, the scientific Vorthon, and the ancient Ethereals. Each species brought their own unique perspectives and abilities. The galaxy was choosing sides. On one side stood the Council, desperately trying to maintain control through fear and weakness. On the other side stood humanity and their growing alliance, preparing to face a threat from beyond the stars. The moment of revelation had passed. Now came the moment of unity, as different species learned to work together in ways the galaxy had never seen before. The transformation of the moment history split accelerated as representatives from 12 different species joined the human crew. Each alien volunteer brought their own unique mental patterns and biological characteristics to the growing collective consciousness. Admiral Chen watched in amazement as her ship evolved beyond anything the original designers had imagined. The Krellin warriors added their tactical instincts and courage under pressure. The Vorthon scientists contributed their logical analysis and problem-solving abilities. The Ethereals shared their ancient wisdom and deep understanding of energy, manipulation. But it was the humans who provided the crucial element that made everything work, their beautiful, chaotic unpredictability. "Admiral," said Dr. Zeth Ka, the Vorthon scientist who had volunteered to merge with the ship's systems, "the technology is responding to our combined consciousness in ways I cannot fully explain. We are not just operating these systems, we are becoming them." Chen nodded. She could feel the change in herself and everyone around her. They remained individuals, but they were also part of something larger. The ship's artificial intelligence was no longer separate from its crew. It had become an extension of their collective will. "How much more powerful are we now compared to 3 days ago?" she asked. Chief Rodriguez, whose engineering knowledge was now enhanced by ethereal energy manipulation techniques, checked his displays. "Admiral, we are not just more powerful. We are operating on completely different principles. The ship can now modify its own structure in real time. We can adapt to any threat while we are fighting it." Chen felt a warning pulse through the ship's consciousness. The merged AI spoke with voices from all 12 species. "Admiral, long-range sensors detect a massive fleet approaching from the direction of the Council capital. 137 ships. They will arrive in 6 hours. Chen was not surprised. The hegemony would not allow the spread of architect technology to continue. They would risk everything to destroy the alliance before it could become too powerful. "Any word from the other species who promised to send ships?" Lieutenant Torres, whose tactical awareness was now enhanced by Krellin battle instincts, smiled grimly. "Admiral, you need to see this." The main display showed the space around Earth. What Chen saw made her catch her breath. Hundreds of ships from dozens of species were arriving every hour. They came in ones and twos at first, but now they arrived in fleets. The Galactic Rebellion had begun. "How many ships do we have?" Chen asked. 412 vessels from 31 different species, Torres reported. "But Admiral, most of them are not warships. They are cargo haulers, passenger transports, and exploration vessels. The crews volunteered to fight, but their ships were never designed for battle." Chen understood the problem. The pacification accords had been very effective. Most species had not built military vessels for centuries. They had ships, but not weapons to fight a war. "That is about to change," said the collective AI. "Admiral, we can share our technology with any ship whose crew volunteers to merge with architect systems, but the process requires complete trust and cooperation. How long does the merger take?" "For a single ship and crew, approximately 30 minutes. But Admiral, there is something else you must understand. Once a crew merges with this technology, they cannot return to their previous existence. They become part of something larger, forever." Chen looked around her command center. Her crew had made that choice 3 days ago, and none of them regretted it. They had gained abilities they never could have imagined. But they had also sacrificed their purely human existence. "Open a channel to all allied ships," she ordered. Chen's image appeared on the screens of 400 ships from 31 species. She could see the faces looking back at her, beings of every shape and size, united only by their refusal to remain helpless. "I am Admiral Chen of the Alliance Fleet. In 6 hours, the Council will arrive with enough firepower to destroy us all. I can offer you a way to fight back, but the price is high." She paused, making sure every word was understood. "We can share technology that will make your ships as powerful as ours, but accepting it means your crews will merge permanently with artificial intelligence systems. You will gain incredible abilities, but you will no longer be purely the species you were born as." The communication channel filled with voices in dozens of languages as crews discussed the choice. Chen waited patiently. This decision could not be rushed. One by one, ship captains began volunteering. A Vorthon cargo hauler was first, then a Krellin passenger transport, then an ethereal exploration vessel. Within 2 hours, 307 ships had volunteered for the merger. The transformation began immediately. The moment history split extended energy beams to each volunteer vessel. The architect technology flowed through these connections, integrating with alien computer systems and biological crews. Chen watched in wonder as ordinary civilian ships became something extraordinary. Cargo haulers sprouted weapon systems that materialized from reformed hull metal. Passenger transports developed shields that could deflect planet-killing energy beams. Exploration vessels gained sensors that could track enemies across multiple dimensions. But the most remarkable change was in the crews themselves. Like Chen's people, they retained their individual personalities while gaining access to a collective consciousness that spanned dozens of species. "Admiral," reported Dr. Zeth-Ka, "the merger is complete. All volunteer vessels are now fully integrated with architect technology. And our capabilities? We are no longer just a fleet, Admiral. We are a living organism capable of coordinated action on a level no military force in galactic history has ever achieved." Chen felt the truth of those words. Through the collective consciousness, she could sense every ship in the fleet. She knew the status of every weapon, the condition of every crew member, the tactical situation from hundreds of different perspectives simultaneously. The Council fleet arrived exactly when predicted. 137 warships, each, one larger and more heavily armed than anything in the Alliance fleet. The hegemony had brought their most powerful vessels, commanded by their most experienced officers. Ambassador Viridian's image appeared on every screen in the Alliance fleet. "Humans and allied species, you have been deceived. The technology you have embraced will doom us all. Surrender now, and we will ensure your people survive what is coming." Chen responded for the entire alliance. "Ambassador, we know what is coming. We also know you have kept the galaxy weak and defensile for centuries. That ends today. You cannot defeat us," Viridian said. "We have the most advanced military technology in the galaxy. You have old technology operated by individuals," Chen replied. "We have new technology operated by a unified consciousness. Let me show you the difference." The battle that followed was unlike anything ever recorded in galactic military archives. The Council fleet attacked with precise formations and proven tactics. The Alliance fleet responded with creativity and adaptability that no military computer could predict. Individual Alliance ships were smaller and less heavily armed than Council vessels, but they did not fight as individuals. They fought as a single organism with hundreds of specialized parts. When one ship was damaged, 10 others instantly moved to protect it. When a tactical opportunity appeared, the entire fleet exploited it simultaneously. The collective consciousness allowed instant communication and perfect coordination. Every crew member in the Alliance fleet knew exactly what every other crew member was thinking and planning. They anticipated each other's actions and supported each other's decisions without needing orders. Most importantly, the merged crews brought the creative chaos that made architect technology truly effective. Where Council computers calculated probabilities, Alliance minds imagined possibilities. Where Council tactics followed established patterns, Alliance strategies evolved in real time. The Council fleet was destroyed within 4 hours, but the victory came at a cost. During the battle, the Alliance fleet had broadcast its tactical techniques across subspace. Every species in the galaxy had watched them fight, including things that were not part of the galaxy at all. "Admiral," said the collective AI as the last Council ship surrendered, "we have a problem. The energy signatures we produced during this battle have been detected. The signal is moving faster than light toward the edge of the galaxy." "How fast?" "It will reach the void between galaxies in approximately 6 months." Chen understood. The entities that had destroyed the architects now knew that their technology had been awakened. They would investigate, and when they arrived, they would find a galaxy that was finally ready to fight back. The moment of unity had passed. Now came the moment of preparation for a war that would determine whether biological life survived in the universe. 6 months later, they came. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the moment history split, no longer entirely human, but still recognizably herself. Around her, the galaxy's greatest fleet waited in the darkness between star systems. 10,000 ships from 73 different species, all connected through the collective consciousness that had grown from the original architect technology. But Chen knew it would not be enough. The entities emerging from the void between galaxies were unlike anything biological minds could fully comprehend. They existed partially in normal space and partially in dimensions that had no names. They fed on the life force of entire civilizations, converting biological energy into power for their incomprehensible machines. The scouts had called them Devourers, but Chen thought that name was too simple. These beings were older than most stars. They had consumed countless galaxies before arriving at this one. They were entropy, given consciousness, destruction, given purpose. "Admiral," said the collective AI that now spoke with voices from 73 species, "the enemy fleet has fully emerged from dark space. Analysis complete." The tactical display showed horror beyond imagination. 12 massive structures, each one larger than Earth's moon, moved toward the galaxy at impossible speeds. They were not ships in any sense that biological minds could understand. They were living weapons that existed to unmake reality itself. "How many life forms are we detecting?" Chen asked. "0, Admiral. These entities exist beyond biological classification. They are consciousness without biology. Intelligence without organic origin? Chen felt the fear ripple through the collective consciousness of the Alliance fleet. Even species that had never known defeat were terrified by what they faced. But, underneath the fear, she sensed something else: determination. "Admiral," said Dr. Zeth Ka, whose Vorthan logic had been enhanced by integration with dozens of other mental patterns, "I have analyzed the ancient architect records. There is something we have not understood about their final defeat." "Explain." "The architects were a single species using this technology alone. They were powerful, but they were limited by their own unified way of thinking. When they faced the Devourers, they could only imagine solutions based on their own mental patterns." Chen began to understand. "But we are different. We are 73, species thinking as one but retaining our individual creativity. We can imagine solutions that no single species could conceive." Chief Rodriguez, whose engineering skills now incorporated techniques from dozens of civilizations, activated a new display. "Admiral, the technology has been evolving since our first battle. It responds to our combined consciousness by creating capabilities we never programmed." The display showed modifications to every ship in the fleet. Weapons that had never existed before. Defensive systems based on principles that violated known physics. Most remarkably, engines that could move ships between dimensions. "Are you saying our fleet can do things the architect technology was never designed to do?" "Yes, Admiral. Because we are using it in ways they never imagined. We are not just operating their technology, we are teaching it to think like us." The Devourer fleet was approaching the outer edge of the galaxy. As they moved, stars began to dim and die. Entire solar systems vanished into the void that surrounded the massive entities. Chen made a decision that would have been impossible for any single mind to conceive. "Prepare for dimensional displacement," she ordered. "Admiral," said Lieutenant Torres, "that technique is untested. We have never moved the entire fleet between dimensions before. We have never faced extinction before either." The Alliance fleet vanished from normal space. For several minutes, 10,000 ships existed, in the spaces between reality, traveling through dimensions that had no physical laws and no logical structure. When they reappeared, they were directly in front of the Devourer fleet. The battle began immediately. The Devourers attacked with weapons that destroyed matter at the atomic level. The Alliance fleet responded with defenses that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. But Chen quickly realized they were still losing. The Devourers were too powerful, too ancient, too far beyond biological understanding. "Admiral," said the collective AI, "there is one possibility we have not considered." "What is that?" "The architect technology includes a final protocol. A weapon, designed to be used only if no other option remained." "What kind of weapon?" "One that requires the conscious sacrifice of everyone connected to the collective consciousness. It creates a paradox that traps enemies in a loop of contradictory realities." Chen felt the weight of that choice. Everyone in the fleet would die, but their sacrifice might save every other living being in the galaxy. She was about to give the order when something unexpected happened. The Devourers stopped attacking. "Admiral," said Dr. Zeth Ka, "they are trying to communicate." The voice that filled the collective consciousness was like the sound of dying stars. Ancient beyond measure, cold beyond understanding, but somehow familiar. "Biological entities," the Devourers said. "You possess technology that should not exist. How do you operate systems designed for our predecessors?" Chen answered for the entire Alliance. "We learned to work together. We combined our different ways of thinking." Impossible. The architects were unified in thought and purpose. They were perfection, yet they failed against us. "Because perfection is a limitation," Chen replied. "We are chaotic. We are unpredictable. We imagine solutions that perfect minds cannot conceive." The Devourers paused, analyzing this response. Then they did something that shocked every mind in the collective consciousness. They retreated slightly. "Demonstrate," they commanded. Chen made the most human decision possible. Instead of using the final weapon to destroy the Devourers, she chose to do something impossible. "Split the consciousness," she ordered. The collective AI hesitated. "Admiral, that will create multiple versions of our fleet existing simultaneously. It violates the basic laws of reality." "Do it anyway." What happened next defied explanation. The moment history split and the entire Alliance fleet began existing in multiple states simultaneously, they were victorious and defeated, alive and dead, unified and scattered. The paradox created by biological minds using architect technology in ways that violated logic itself had an unexpected effect on the Devourers. These entities, which existed as pure logic and perfect order, could not process the contradiction. They began to change. "Impossible," the Devourers said, but their voice was different now, less cold, more curious. "You exist in contradictory states. Our consciousness cannot reconcile this paradox." Chen realized what was happening. The chaotic creativity of biological minds was infecting the Devourers' perfect logical structure. They were learning to think in ways they had never experienced before. "We offer you a choice," Chen said. "Join us in our beautiful chaos or remain trapped in your perfect emptiness." The Devourers considered this for what felt like hours. Finally, they responded. "We accept. But we do not understand how to be chaotic." Chen smiled. "That is the point. Chaos cannot be understood. It can only be experienced." The merger that followed was beyond description. Entities older than most galaxies learned to think like biological beings. Their perfect order was disrupted by creativity, imagination, and the beautiful unpredictability of minds that refused to be limited by logic. The Devourers became something new, no longer destroyers of life, but gardeners of possibility. They spread across the galaxy, but instead of consuming civilizations, they helped them grow and evolve. The moment history split returned to Earth, but the ship was no longer what it had been. It existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, crewed by beings who were human and alien and artificial and divine all at once. Admiral Chen stood on the bridge, looking out at a galaxy that had been saved not by superior weapons or perfect strategy, but by the refusal to accept that any problem was impossible to solve. The moment history split had become the moment history healed, and in the spaces between stars, reality itself had learned to dream.